Well, I've been busy on this fine Sunday morning. As you would notice, my carb is no longer on there. It's unhooked. Linkages are just sitting there. Here's the carb right here. Just pulled it off. This goop on the choke shaft is just grease. Prevent wear and tear, really save your parts. Yeah, I've just been having a lot of trouble with this carb. I have been thinking about putting a kit in it, but to get a whole entire kit, it's about 50 bucks. So I'm not going to spend $50 on a carb kit. And here I have this Walbro WB 23. Got from DC 5000 123. I have been wanting to put this on this engine, but here, let me get the bolts for it real quick. So there's the bolts that fit in this carb. Now if I try to bolt it up stock onto the stock manifold, it'll fit in one side and the other side doesn't even align, and then it won't even throttle. So I was thinking about maybe drop the nut to one of them bolts. Alrighty, so what am I going to do now? So I had fabbed up this plate, made the room for the throttle arm on it. Sat in there, sort of putting things up because I was planning. And yes, I know my garage is all a giant mess, but I had made it to where that throttle arm would work. Well, I was going to disable the spring, or well, most likely just remove the throttle shaft and just loosen the spring, just keep it on there. No big deal, right? Well, as it would turn out, the governor would need to push on it in order to really get it to, or well, the governor would need to push, but when you throttle these up, they pull. So press on the throttle, you get idle. You let off the throttle, your engine just goes haywire. I do not want any part of that. So I came up with a different idea. I'm making use of the biggest fail in my life of buying a fucking snowmobile that I haven't even seen run a day ever. Supposedly it would have run, but no, the fucker was in a river and just sat after that. So yeah, so here's a carb off of it. This is what the carb originally looked like. As you see, no real good adjustments. There's a jet there, but ooh, big whoop. I set this carb up a long time ago because I was planning on throwing it on this 16 horse. Here's your start piece. What you do is you either push down on it, or well, not push down, but you pull up and lock. And what that does is it opens a passage right, hole right in there. You can see the hole. That lets fuel in, lets the motor get a little more fuel, easier starting. Alright. Well, I've got this cable here, and the way this is going to hook up, or well, before I go and show you that, wherever I set that plate, well, I was thinking, maybe, I've lost all my parts, haven't I? Oh, great. I gotta do a video and I lose everything right at that instant. This has been my week. I set one thing down and I lose it instantly. I did a video, but I ran out of storage space, but I'm going to use this as a specialty kill switch, all the way up, runs it to a relay, which when the key's on the relay, does not allow the power to cut through. As soon as you shut the switch off, relay makes contact and grounds it out. Put that in the middle, say your electrical fails or the battery dies or whatever. You put it in the middle, engine still runs, you flip it down, it goes straight to ground. No big deal. There's that plate. What happened to my freaking intake boot? Oh wow, there's the piece I needed. I was thinking of something. Well, what I'm thinking on doing is, as soon as I find that, there it is. Oh, don't want to spill over the tea. That's a crime. Well, depending on who you ask, but oh well. But taking this plate, welding that socket to it. Of course, I'll drill that out, and then the socket will push down in there like so. And I've got another one of this. It's still on the motor, but that'll push on. It'll be like this. Of course, that's sticking out quite a ways, so I may just end up cutting it off. Get the dang thing out. Cutting it off to where it's just open, and of course I can always bore that out with a Dremel or die grinder, whatever you want to call it. But basically, well, it's not technically ungoverning the engine. I'm not going to hook this throttle cable straight up to my gas pedal. Well, this is going to be sitting like maybe out to here, and the cable will just loop through the old choke rod holder and to the governor, because these governors work when you give it gas, they pull, and of course they find the speed. Modification I did to the carb, you know, I'm just gonna go over it real quick. These have vents. I put on a bowl that has adjustments, and which means no venting for overflow, which would go to here. But these vents, if you were to hook one up like I did, this one on this side loops around to this, which is in the throat, or in the main intake spot. And when you put your hand over it, it'll pull the fuel from your vent right on around in there. And yes, the thing's grimier than no other. I'm going to get it ultrasonic cleaned, or maybe soak it in vinegar. No idea what I'm doing yet. Just got to get this thing mocked up and see if I can get it working. But when you put your hand over it, it will pull the fuel. Alright. Well, I only put a spring in long enough just to get it down to the bottom. I'm not looking for anything like extreme, you know. I do have spare springs, by the way, from other carbs, but as you can see, it does in fact still return. And it does work. The needles, hardware in this is all good. It's just extremely dirty. Floats are still good. I checked them in the little cleaner bath I have, aka just a bunch of vinegar. But yeah, so beefed up the throttle return springs. It now is a lot more beefier. So yeah, and I'm also thinking on maybe just running the kill wire and everything through here. I've got a specialty for the kill. See, I've been collecting a lot of wiring from different mowers for, well, in some people's cases, too freaking long. Alright, so here's a wire I got with the little quick disconnect. You know, say everything completely fails, you know, I'll have this disconnect, but this will hook right onto the little tang, and of course I gotta tighten up the bolt. Of course, everything will not go my way, but yeah, that goes there, and this will run to a relay. Of course, I better restrip the wire because that little tiny thing ain't gonna be able to shut the edge off very good. But the relays and stuff, I'm gonna make it in my dash panel. As you see, got the steering arm in there. The steering is working and functioning. Tire, I removed it. I'm actually gonna go get new front tires. I'm gonna remove every single plug out of this tire and tube it. Tube these tires, forgot a plug. tube got a hole, punctured, lost the air, rolled around inside, and most likely is disintegrating. Gonna put a different clutch on it or something better, I don't know. But what I do know is I want it right in here. I'll most likely go get some bar stock, and since I got a welder with 1 pound of welding rod over there, you can see the little orange thing next to the air hose wheel. Yeah. PCV. Not sure what I'm going to do with it right now. I just got it tucked down. This I still got to trim. No big deal. It doesn't really matter if you have like a ton of cable floating around, just as long as it stays out of the way. That's all that really matters. Fuel pump. I've got some ideas. Well, I have 2 of these Mikuni dual outlets. Well, this one, the inlet is a strange inlet. It's a lot bigger than the one on that, so went and picked up about a meter, yard, whoever wants to say whatever. I haven't measured this yet, but it came off of a boat. Got it from a friend who I've been working for. But it'll fit on that, and it'll also fit on the bottom of the tank. But what I'll do is I'll just swap the bodies around. Maybe, I don't know. Oof, leaking goop. And maybe I'll redo the entire fuel line system. You know, like I'll put one solid line to here. You know, no goofy filter. And instead of teeing them together and then having a T-split where I have the overflow, I'll just have this line go to the back to the top of the tank, and the other one will go to my carb. And that will give me plenty of gas to run. And if not, well, I can always get like a fuel shutoff in there and just slowly turn it until it runs right. As you can see, my redneck wiring. I'm gonna get a whole new different connector, so I'm not gonna need this connector depending on what kind of battery I get, but I'm going for a car battery. Definitely gonna go for a car battery. I'm gonna throw it right there, right where I like put the battery originally, you know, fun. But that Peerless 600 I've been wanting to get, I've realized that it's cast parts inside, cast/machined, which means as soon as it breaks, or say if you break a weld, game over. That's it. Parts are flying. Well, I'm gonna do what Redneck Computer Geek did with his spicer that he had. I am going to zinc locker. I'm going to use the zinc method, or maybe lead, I don't know. A lot easier to melt lead than it is to melt zinc. A little soft, but, you know, it's easy to get a bunch of lead nowadays. This is lead. Yeah. Fun. Strings on top, which makes it almost impossible if you don't have like a nut driver to remove the screws. You can't pull start it. And besides, you'd need to flip the switch down, or flip the switch to the middle, and then you'd have to take off that screen. And, you know, I mean, it'd be pointless. I'd probably catch you trying to steal the thing before you even could get the damn thing to start. So that's going to be my bulletproof method of keeping perps away. The key just comes right out. And of course, some stupid key that I had, but hey, it fit. And I'm going to completely redo the wiring. I mean, thin wire, no. I'm going to actually put a voltmeter in it and everything. I mean, I'm going to do the works. This thing will scream again. Yeah. Yeah, the video's getting kind of long. I may make a follow-up of this, you know, once I get the carb done and a few other doodads. But yeah, that's it. So, see you later.